Hello everybody, welcome. Sorry I've been inactive on the reaction channel a bit. A bit busy, especially with the main channel. I've been grinding on Digimon Trinity, trying to get to level 350 to get Omimon. Along with that, Ghost Simulator had an update, so I gotta kind of get cracking on that. Apparently I do zone. I don't know if that has anything to do with the story main wise. First story arc. Or a second story arc thing. Oh, that's gonna be a bad. I just gotta take a bit, but I wanna get something done. I might do the, Ultra Vegito for today. I do the Darman tomorrow. I don't know. But let's get cracking. One sec.
So last time on Dragon Ball Super, Ultra Vegito had battled Jiren to a definitive conclusion, before finally explaining his motives for killing the gods, even going as far as providing Jiren a time ring to verify his story, only for Jiren to return and inexplicably erase Belmod right before Vegito's eyes. And now in today's manga, Vegito must decide what his recourse will be. But before we begin, join the now over 1,006. So our story continues with Jiren standing stone-faced, staring forward after his shock murder of his own former friend and god, Belmod. While in the background, Ultra Vegito still remains in utter disbelief. Jiren! What have you done? What the hell is wrong with you? I'm guessing you saw what he did to my planet, but damn it! Belmod was my kill! Could have at least given me a heads up. Huh? Wait a second. But as Ultra Vegito scolds Jiren, suddenly he is forced to turn his head in panic as an ominous power level begins to rise out of nowhere. And in the distance, thunder and lightning begins to spark through the air, as a tall and large silhouette stands at the very epicenter. But who could it be? Jiren! You damn traitor! You will face justice for your actions! As shockingly, it is revealed to be Toppo, now in his full-powered Heikaishin form. And after 4 years of training in the Pyramid of Power, even the planet itself begins to quake in fear from his strength. As he stands confidently with his fists clenched, Toppo comments one final time. Son Goku, you have poisoned even the mind of my greatest friend.
Oh no,
but nothing will excuse the crime of murdering our former god and pride trooper Belmod. New god of destruction or not, Jiren, as weakened as you are, your death will now be by my hand. Jiren! As suddenly, like a cannonball, Heikaishin Toppo rushes in at Jiren with all his might. His conviction secured at what he must do for the sake of Universe 11, even if against his old friend. But as Toppo reaches within touching distance, curiously, a seemingly still deep in thought Jiren just remains still, almost as if he too realizes he must face justice for what he has just done. Jiren, move! But suddenly, an alarmed Ultra Vegito, watching all of this drama play out, is quick to get into action, and jumps into a fighting stance as he thinks, I forgot about that damn beast man! This is bad. Jiren is still pretty banged up after what I did to him. I'm gonna need to step in. But instantaneously, before Vegito can even move an inch further, a massive explosion is seen at, curiously, exactly the spot where Toppo and Jiren were. And as the dust settles, it is shockingly revealed to be from the impact of Jiren's giant apparition, which somehow has returned to the battlefield in an instant, even with Jiren's current state. And at the base of the giant fist that is cemented into the ground is a cracked surface where someone has been completely flattened. And as the humongous hand then slowly moves away, crumbling rocks from its knuckles as it moves, Toppo, Pride Trooper of Universe 11, is shown to be the victim. Imprinted onto the planet's surface, damaged to heck, with not even both his eyes being functional, as he mutters, "Jiren, I can't move. Why?" What? Which Ultra Vegito, having watched this all go down, is left near speechless, as he thinks to himself, "No way! Jiren still had that much energy in the tank? Then why did he give up so easily? Was he holding back against me?" But Jiren, who couldn't care about neither Vegito's shock nor the pancake Toppo before him, turns back to where the erased remains of Belmod reside and looks down dejected, before uttering out, "Sorry, Son Goku, but I had to do this. Belmod could only die by my hand after what I witnessed, not only for my sake, but for the sake of my people too." Your people? Hearing this though, the oblivious Vegito, who did not hear anything that was exchanged between Belmod and Jiren earlier, queries on, "What do you mean what you witnessed? I don't follow, Jiren. You consider the Earthlings your people? I had no idea you felt so strongly about us, you lovable lug. Or is this just some lame reflection of your own brand of justice?" Jiren though, initially remaining quiet, then finally turns his head to look at the Saiyan and reveal the truth, as he says, "No, that is not what I meant, Son Goku. I did intend to go see what happened in your past. Indeed, I wasn't shown any of what you showed me when the angel entered my mind. But as I thought of your story, as you say, it did remind me of a certain incident in my own past. So, in the end, I opted to travel over 3 decades back to when I was still a child. Back when I had my master and friends in my humble village known as Doro. It was the exact moment they were all slaughtered before my eyes by a beast I never truly uncovered until just now. The monster who killed my master, my friends, my family, was Lord Belmod himself. The same man who found me orphaned and gave me purpose in the Pride Troopers was the same man who orchestrated my entire life until this point.
Yep.
What? Those damn gods! Leaving Vegito now looking on seriously at Jiren with his arms folded and back hunched, as he angrily continues, "I should have known. That creepy clown was always bad news. This is exactly why the reign of those so-called gods needs to end, Jiren. From the Supreme Kais to the gods of destruction, this messed up system needs to end. No creature, divine or otherwise, should be deciding who lives and dies at their whim, and without explanation or anyone to answer to. You would have never even found out what happened if it wasn't for these rings. An item that is gate-kept by the very gods we need these things to find the truth about." Jiren, hearing this and now done wallowing in the sadness of his actions, then begins to take off the time ring Vegito had given him as promised, saying as he does so, "Son Goku, I understand why you are doing this now. What motivates you and drives you to do the things that no mortal ever would. But this idea, to remove all gods, Supreme Kais included, regardless of whether they were involved or not. How are you so sure that is the correct path all universes should follow? Surely, there should be some exceptions." But without even a moment's hesitation, with a steadfast conviction, Ultra Vegito responds, "Jiren, listen to me. When I was imprisoned by those gods, for 10 years I suffered. Suffered for something I never even wanted to be involved with in the first place. A battle with a god of destruction who I was powerless to deny. Threatened with destruction if I didn't participate in his game. It reminded me so much of when Beerus first came to Earth. Even then, he threatened the erasure of my home planet unless I could show him a Super Saiyan god. It was only by luck we could produce something for him. But just how many other planets are there that didn't get the same luxury? The role of a destroyer is to erase planets, like they were particles of dust needing to be hoovered up. That kind of devaluing of life, Jiren, of mortals, can no longer exist as long as I'm alive." And hearing this surprisingly poignant and deep explanation, Jiren can't help but succumb, drooping his eyes as he begins to emphasize greatly with Vegito's cause, saying back, I see. Though I can't just yet decide whether you are on the right side of justice, there's nothing I could say that will sway your decision anyway.
Yeah.
And neither can I tell you you are wrong about what you say. But I do have one question for you, Son Goku. Throwing his removed earring at Ultra Vegito, which is swiftly caught with ease, before staring Vegito right in his eyes and continuing, "If I had remained against you as the new god of destruction for this universe, would you really have destroyed me just as you had the others?" And for a moment, Ultra Vegito just watches Jiren in silence, giving nothing away with his poker face expression. All the while, slowly placing the time ring back on his hand, as if it had finally returned to its rightful home.
I don't know about right.
Until suddenly, in an unexpected turn of events, Ultra Vegito vanishes without a trace, leaving a confused Jiren to yell out, "Son Goku, where did his energy go?" What are you doing?" As Jiren then notices something out the corner of his eye, right behind him. Something clearly so shocking, it even has the normally stone-cold Jiren alarm. As when we zoom out, we eventually see is none other than Ultra Vegito once again on the battlefield, but now firmly placing two fingers on the back of Jiren's head, as if emulating a gun and ready to blast the new god of destruction's brains out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jiren, who almost instinctively begins to hold his hands up in fear and surrender, can't tell himself what the god killer's intentions are, before Vegito lets out coldly, "Of course I would have, Lord Jiren." And with his fingers still pointed firmly at the former Pride Trooper, Vegito then sternly demands, "Now that you have your answer, I need you to do something for me in return, Jiren. And I'm sure, after what you just found out, you'll have no problem doing this. Summon your angel attendant, Margarita, at once." And on hearing this, Jiren's fear instantly subsides as he closes his eyes and begins to give the God Killer's request some thought, thinking, "The angel. I know what will happen if I summon her. Belmont deserved his death, but does she too? Yes, she does." And with a cold expression, Jiren suddenly makes his mind up and snaps his fingers. And just like that, behind both Jiren and Ultra Vegito, Margarita appears on command, just as an attendant should, with Vegito commenting, "Well, hello, female Whis. Hope we didn't disturb your little holiday, but the men would like to talk to you now." Huh? Jiren? Leaving Margarita in a state of disbelief, as the first sight she sees on her sudden arrival is shockingly her own god of destruction who was meant to annihilate Vegito, now on the end of what would seem a fatal blast. Margarita, now panicking, would then yell out, "What's going on, Jiren? Why did you bring me here? I thought you would handle this yourself." As Vegito, now pleased with her panicking, explains with a sinister smile, "Well, would you look at that? A summoned angel questioning why her god summoned her. My, you would never see Whis asking Beerus. What a pathetic excuse for an angel you are. But now that Jiren has been defeated, guess he doesn't really need an angel anymore, does he, Margarita?" As she hears the Saiyan's last line though, a stroke of fear comes across her face, and she mumbles back, "Jiren, you were beaten? So that means..." And immediately, with a shrieking scream, rather than battle Vegito head-on fruitlessly, the Angel of Universe 11 makes a run for it, knowing all too well the horrific powers of Ultra Vegito. But almost instantly, as if expecting it himself, from Vegito's left arm, splattering Namekian goo as it flies out, Vegito unleashes his Cell Tail. Immediately wrapping around the angel's neck perfectly and as tight as an anaconda, slowly squeezing the very air and life force out of Margarita, until finally, the tail, which moves as if it has a mind of its own, then brings its pointed needle end right in front of Margarita's face, which instantly causes her to plead pitifully one more time, No! Vegito, please! I don't deserve this! It was all Belmont! It was!
No!
Just like that, the tail makes its move, and in a gruesome scene, it strikes face first, but seemingly from the angle, it doesn't appear to have struck quite in the middle. What have you done to me? As horrifically, we are treated to the sight of Margarita's left eye exploding in her face as the tail punches it without mercy, leading to an ocean of blood spurting forward as she screams. But perhaps in a show of mercy or just extreme power, Margarita's life force and organic matter is almost instantly absorbed into Vegito, leaving only now a lifeless, wrinkled shell, which Vegito without care then tosses into the wind like a loose bin bag, flying in the air like a kite until Vegito yells, "Kai!" screaming with enough intensity as if he was doing this for Belmont too, simultaneously snapping back his tail into his android arm as he does so. And as expected, the angel Margarita then erases right before the eyes of Vegito, turning to dust before disappearing completely from the universe forevermore, as Jiren prefers to not even dignify her with
Wow.
one final look. But with the angel now taken care of, God of Destruction Jiren then turns his attention back to Vegito. Realizing now that the angel's energy has been absorbed, now only the God of Destructions remains. As he says, "So, what now? Margarita has been absorbed by that disgusting machination of yours. And from both your visions, it seems you don't stop at just absorbing the angel's power, but the energy of the destroyer too. Given I've already erased Belmod, I'm guessing you're not quite satisfied. Am I your next victim, Son Goku?" But in response, Vegito just remains quiet, instead opting to move his hand slowly away from the back of Jiren's head before walking past the surprised god without fear, and with an unreadable smile on his face as Jiren questions after him, "Son Goku, where are you going? Belmod is no more." But as we zoom out, as the thunder from Toppo's power-up still rages on, it is revealed Ultra Vegito is actually walking towards the former candidate, still paralyzed on the ground from Jiren's earlier attack. And as he finally reaches Toppo, Vegito, still smirking, then lets out, "Yes, Jiren. Well, that would be the case normally. But lucky for you, you aren't the only one left here with destruction energy. In fact, I have a feeling Beastman over here may have had even more in him than you did." As soon, Toppo, who had lost consciousness, regains it on sensing Vegito's movement. He barely opens one eye, looking to the direction of the sound he hears until... You, God Killer, you will pay! Reacting in anger and fury still, despite his now powerless state. But Ultra Vegito, who in typical fashion has a sadistic smile watching Toppo writhe in pain, then responds, "Relax, Beastman. This will only take a second. Besides, what good is destruction power to someone who couldn't even make it to the title of Destroyer? Weren't you a candidate in line before Jiren? What a disgrace." As immediately following this, Vegito swiftly smacks his palm onto Toppo's face and slams it into the ground as Toppo struggles in pain. Until finally, just as fast as Margarita's energy was sapped away, so too is the energy of Toppo, as he now remains on the ground, near lifeless, but still alive. Vegito, now having gotten everything he needed from this universe, then stands back up, while Toppo remains mute on the ground beneath him, before turning to Jiren and saying, "Jiren, listen carefully now, because I'll only say this once. You remain in this universe as its god of destruction, and though I know you well enough now to trust you won't make the same mistakes as your predecessors, you can't stay here anymore." This sudden statement, though, takes Jiren by surprise, as he looks at Vegito wide-eyed and queries further, "What are you saying? What do you mean I can't stay anymore, Son Goku? This is where I belong. Or is this some way of telling me you must erase me regardless?" But Vegito, who's far from a joking mood, looks on sternly and continues, "Because, Jiren, you too are a god killer now. And Zeno, and the Grand Priest for that matter, will not take that standing down. You know that as well as I. Eventually, they will come. For both me and you. I'm ready, but I'm not sure you are. You need to keep training. I sense within you a great power, a potential that could even surpass mine.
Wow.
And one day, when I finally face those two scumbags in the final battle, I'll need you, friend. You have one of those god summoning buttons, don't you? Hand me yours. Describing, of course, the same unique button Zeno once gave Goku and the god of destruction Sidra had given Bergamo. Jiren, hearing this, then smiles, pleasantly pleased with his old friend's request, as he begins rummaging in his back pocket for said button while saying, "Fighting alongside Son Goku, a god pairing with the renowned god killer. Not exactly what I was expecting from today's outcome.
True.
But as they say, stranger things have happened."
That, and if you can't beat him, join
And
him.
so with a smile, this time more genuine than the one he gave Belmont, Jiren walks over to Ultra Vegito saying, "I hope, warrior, I do become of use to you in the way you say. I stand with you, Vegito." Before then handing over the button to Vegito in almost like a handshaking fashion, as Vegito smiles back at his friend and replies, "I already know you won't let me down. Train up good. Now that you're a god of destruction, you should have access to the Pyramid of Power, shouldn't you? An angel known as Miras once showed me. Summon it and spend your days there until you have reached my level. The longest I could withstand is 10 days, but I'll try my hardest for your sake, Son Goku. See you soon." As Jiren then nonchalantly snaps his fingers, and immediately before Vegito and Jiren, the Pyramid of Power erects itself in all its understated glory. Jiren, knowing his mission and having said everything he would ever need to, then walks into the pyramid with just his hand waving goodbye one last time, before the doors of the training facility shut behind him hard, not to be opened again until at least 10 days later, or so Jiren thought. Vegito, now all alone outside the pyramid, has some time to reflect on everything that just went on during his trip to Universe 11. He may not have had the pleasure of killing the god of destruction, but somehow supposedly gained the future aid of another. A slight darkness then looms over the Saiyan's face as he looks at the ground in great contemplation, still not uttering a word, as if figuring out what his next possible move is, or just battling with some inner morals that will come into play sooner than we think. Vegito stares at the door intensely for a moment, to us viewers though, it's not clear why. But instantly, without a hint of warning, Ultra Vegito blasts out a powerful ki beam. And just like that, it hits directly on the peaceful, unsuspecting pyramid, right on the same doors Vegito stared at, leading to a massive explosion, and unfortunately leaving behind a pile of broken and scorched rubble. And as the dust settles and sways across Ultra Vegito's face, a sinister grin now appears, as Vegito lets out, "Sorry, Jiren, but if I'm ridding every universe of their god of destruction, then this one will be no exception. Train hard, warrior." Jiren, of course, inside, who was already in the middle of training, suddenly too then notices the massive explosion of the pyramid entrance. The blast being so powerful, it is even visible within the alternate dimension.
Wow.
And yet again, left behind is nothing but rubble and smoke, as the only door out becomes lost forever. What? Son Goku, what have you done? As a truly shell-shocked and disbelieving Jiren stands terrified, hoping this is just a dream, as he now, betrayed by the God Killer, must exist in this dimension for seemingly the rest of eternity. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag betrayed.
That was just wow. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But wow, locked or trapped to be an 8-time jumper like that. Wow. Oof. But yep, but it was a good episode. See you guys in a bit.